In the mountainous region of northern Luzon, you will find the rice terraces of Ifugao. Rice terraces are popular among tourists because of its unique and intricate composition. These terraces were hand-carved by the indigenous people in the region hundreds of years ago. But modernization has threatened the centuries-old Ifugao rice culture and traditions. This is why Kandama was founded. Kandama is a social enterprise founded by Victor Bagilat Jr., who wishes to inspire synergy among master weavers, modern designers, and indigenous artisans. It aspires to keep the Ifugao weaving traditions alive while empowering the women in the community. One way of ensuring that the Ifugao natives will continue preserving their traditions and the terraces that sustain them is by expanding the Kandama market.
My business strategy was to continue tapping the local Ifugao women as the weavers. With my supervision, I helped them come up with innovative product design and diversification, while I am in charge of the product branding and niche marketing. Like most startup businessmen, I experienced using my own life savings to fund weaving workshops and pay for the weavers and weaving threads. For almost a year, I was able to sustain the business expenses, but went to a point that I had to borrow money from my parents. I'm planning to expand Kandama to have the woven fabrics into modern pieces, but I need extra funds to make this happen. With the additional funds from my personal loan, Kandama was able to continue to provide more weaving workshops and expand the weaving center in Ifugao. Additional opportunities opened for Kandama because of the business expansion. We caught the attention of international buyers, and we are already planning for the official market launch of Kandama by hosting a fashion show in Manila featuring the Kandama modernized woven pieces.
Burr months are coming. We're already in September. Impart wisdom this September. Wisdom is a gift you receive through knowledge you've collected, good and bad experiences you've faced, and training you've acquired. It may also be passed on by your family or your mentors. Is it enough to have wisdom to achieve your life's mission? It also takes unwavering discipline and precise actions. I definitely see you sharing your wisdom to benefit the greater good, as long as you offer, not push, to those who seem to need it. No matter what stage of life you're in, trust that your voice deserves to be heard. You have wise words or a whole island worthy of sharing. Pun intended. Craft your perfect day. Armed with awareness and knowledge of what you're currently doing, transform your day into the best one ever. Look back on your schedule for the last few weeks. Copy your typical weekday or weekend schedule. Answer the question, how can I make my waking hours even better? That's it! We hope this was helpful, and may we all impart wisdom to the people that matter to us.
Hello, Bellas. It's the third Wednesday of the month, and that means you're watching BDJ Studio Learning Series with Kandama. So Kandama is a high fashion brand and social enterprise that aims to save the weave. And in this series, we talk about turning your passion into action. So we want to give you the inspiration and tips you need so you can take action to chase after your dreams, create lives that are full of love and joy. So guys, as usual, please share in the comment box sa baba, comment box where you're watching us from, and maybe share a bit, how are you this third Wednesday of September? Okay, and don't forget, meron tayong giveaway mechanics for tonight, and to qualify, you have to sign up at go.bdj.studio/sign up and comment with your takeaway for tonight's live. And the winner will get one Essentials notebook and one Dare to Be grateful cards. So without further ado, that's my major announcement tonight. I am bringing in my partner in crime for this third Wednesday of of the month, Victor. Come on in. Hello. Hi. Hello, Victor.
Okay, I can't hear anything. Sorry, Dar.
Oh no,
I
hindi
think
mo
I might have to
marinig.
like log in and log out again.
Okay, sige.
My apologies. Okay, let me just log
Okay.
in.
Sige, kakapasahin ko lang muna yung mga Bella. So, hello. Hi, Mitch. We miss you. Hello. Si Kitty Perry. Do you know, Kitty, meron ako yung first cat ko. It's actually called, Katy Perry. Katy Perry. Katy Perry. Katy Perry yung pangalan ng cat ko. Yung first cat ko. Unfortunately, medyo nag-pass away na ng matagal na. So, guys, this Wednesday night, meron tayong special guest. Pero, syempre, bibigay ko yung honor for introducing our special guest for tonight kay Victor. And super exciting because tonight we're gonna talk about goal setting. So, why are we talking about goal setting in the middle of September? Kasi, syempre, minsan kailangan nating humabol. Malapit na mag-Christmas, ibig sabihin malapit na mag-New Year, and minsan kailangan na rin natin like, okay, meron pa ba tayong mga things that we want to be able to do or accomplish before the year ends. And of course, and I think my partner is back. Okay.
I'm so sorry for that.
Okay
But
na?
I'm so glad I can hear you. It's a Mercury retrograde yata today, so I don't know. But I'm super happy I'm here, and it's lovely to see you again. It's been a month since the last time that we had a chance to talk. My chance to have to get a chat with the Bellas as well, and
Yes.
to chat with you. Yeah. So yeah, like how are things so far?
Ayun, I shared quickly kanina abruptly before our live is that we're preparing for our launch next week. So next week we have a 2-day summit. It's the
Okay.
You Got This PH. We started it last year. Parang nag-e-echo ha. We
Yeah.
started it last year, but the reason that we started it, Victor, is because we felt that in the community, a lot of Filipinos really needed a bit more inspiration to be able to move forward amidst the pandemic. So that's why
so
we
true.
want to encourage everyone. Hey guys, you got this. And we got so many speakers for those 2-day weekend. Super inspiring. And I hope you guys check it out in our website and our social media. So yun. And then of course, Victor, you're welcome to come join
Yeah.
us.
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. Actually, the same thing for our community. Like, there are two brands that one closed down. One of the bigger brands actually. No, they sell weebs to etc. Like a brand that we look up to, and then another one, they closed down their retail, their RTW. So yeah, it's really sad. But hopefully, like things are gonna
Yes.
get better anytime soon. Especially the last quarter of the year. Speaking of developments, we also had
Yeah, may
I'm
utang
not sure
kang
if you've seen.
may utang kang chika sa amin.
I'm not sure if you've already seen it, but we Vogue Italia released na our feature. It's with Pia where it's back. They can just like if I send the link to you, it's gonna be in Italian. But apparently there's a way to check
Translate
out the
it
English
into
version.
English. Yeah, I think Google Translate. Kaya.
But you have to Google search Vogue Italia, Victor Bagilat, or Vogue Italia Pia where it's back. And then there's an option there if you want the Italian or the English version of Vogue Italia.
Sige.
So,
Share natin yun.
yes.
Para makita naman ng mga Bellas and everyone watching us today na parang here we go that parang we have Kandama, our pride in the Philippines in Vogue Italia.
That's true. And plus the fact that we are with Pia Words Back. She is our model for this one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So really interesting. So are we ready now to
ready na
introduce
tayo.
our guest speaker today, who is a dear friend of mine. He was actually my head coach. So he's a life coach. He was my head coach. One of the reasons why officially launched Kandama, by the way, back in 2017. So our guest for today is Eric Cruz. He is a facilitator and speaker who has reached thousands of people through his talks about personal mastery, leadership, relationships, success, and well-being. He gives these talks on TV, radio, online, and in person. Eric has been conducting personal and organizational learning seminars and workshops for over a decade now. He is an accredited facilitator and veteran life coach under Innovate, which is a management consulting and coaching company specifically for its Teen Flex program and the Leadership Excellence Achievement Program, or LEAP, which I also took, by the way, Dar. So this is a really interesting program. And last year, Eric co-founded Epiphany Collective, which is a group of learning coaches who help people and organizations generate illuminating insights and inspiration so they can make better choices and create meaningful results. Very swag. The swag that we invited him for this
Galing.
our theme for today, which is about goal setting. So without further ado, let's call in Eric Cruz.
Hello, Eric. Welcome.
Hi, hello,
Welcome.
mabuhay. Thanks for
Why?
having me here.
You look so fresh.
Idol kita, Victor eh.
Thanks. Na si Darang idol natin.
Grabe.
Oh,
Mutual Admirations Club, guys.
parang kanina hindi ganyan si Eric. I was kidding.
Siyempre,
Because
hello to our Bellas. The Bellas are
Hello,
listening.
yeah.
So, diba?
But- But Dar, like Eric and I were actually college schoolmates, and you know, I also told him that you were also debating, or you debated back in college too. Eric, by the way, like Dar was one of what was the person who, you know, like started the IIDC, you know.
Oh, wow.
The Inquirer.
Wow.
Sila yun. Di ba?
Yes.
Oo, di ba? Because it's really a big
I used
thing.
to compete in that tournament.
Yeah. For the Bellas who are listening, IIDC is the
Inquirer.
debate competition. Yeah, it's like a national
Inquirer.
debate tournament, which is the biggest tournament in the Philippines. Yeah. So
Ginawa ko yun, ano ba yun? I think it was like second year in college. Masyado pa akong bibo.
Yeah.
Sa debate.
Yeah. Nag-set siya ng goal. Ayan. Nag-goal setting
Nag-set ako
siya.
ng goal.
Oo nga.
Oo. No,
So,
that
Inquirer was
I don't know if you guys remember, but the reason that we started that Asians format debating championship nationwide is because it was the first time the Philippines won the Asians tournament just before that. Oo. So, parang because of the yung Asian na regional tournament na nanalo, we decided to do a national one for the
Version
Philippines.
for that.
Yeah.
Oh, diba? May history pa tayo.
May
eh.
history.
Can you imagine that? Oh my God. All the debaters should be listening. Okay. But yeah,
No.
we understand that you're very young, Dar. So it's a really great insight for Eric and me. Okay,
Very-
so Eric,
Yeah.
yeah, very young.
Classmates
I
ko
love
ni
it.
Victor eh, sa debate.
Oo.
And your brother David.
Mm-mm.
I think
my
you all
younger,
started
yeah,
2000,
my younger brother.
Your younger brother, yeah.
Mm-mm.
So Eric, how are you? How's life so far?
Alam mo, a lot of people ask that question. Tapos parang isipin mo, how do I answer this question? So I came up with a staple answer, which is, surfing through life. It sounds really good and fancy, but really it just means that there are ups and downs. So some waves hit harder than the others. But I guess the intention really is just to enjoy every single ride. So yeah, just surfing it and enjoying the ride. Ganyan.
Mm-mm.
Going through
So-
the motions.
Oo. I think a lot of us kasi parang I guess since there's a lot of parang unpredictability, 'di ba? Parang
Exactly.
hindi natin talaga wala We have to in a way go with the flow.
Oo.
Ayan.
Eric
Di-bukad
surface.
talaga ang ating reality. And so it's
What is
important
that?
that we remain grounded on what we
Grounded.
want.
Correct. Oo.
Oh, I just want to ask, so how do you keep yourselves grounded? Like, given what's happening right now and everything. Ako, Well, I think we also talked about this last time. Like, I keep myself grounded by meditating, at least 15 minutes a day. But like, do you guys have any tips with respect to grounding yourself? Especially you, Eric. Maybe like you have
Yeah.
as a life coach. I'm sure that a lot of people would ask you about, like how do they go through life in the midst of the pandemic? How do they ground and anchor themselves?
Right, that's a good question. So I also have meditative practices. So in the morning, I spend about 2 minutes just to ground myself, be comfortable with my breath, and be mindful of that flow, inflow and outflow of my breath. So it grounds me. It makes me feel calm also and relaxed and just ready for the day, whatever it is that I set myself into doing for that particular day. And then towards the end of the day, at night before I sleep, actually, I think to myself the things that I am grateful for that particular day. So keeping a tab of my blessings, because it's so easy to be negative and forget that there are even simple things that we can be grateful for. I mean, to just be alive today and be healthy and not sick is already such a big blessing. And I
Oh,
hope that
Mhm.
people find that in themselves also to count their blessings every single day. And it grounds you into the grace of being alive and what else you're called to do and become for the following day.
yeah. So I think that keeping a gratitude journal is very important. The Bellas definitely, are using their BDJ journals to keep tabs of the amazing things that are happening to them. What about you, Dar? Is there any, you know, grounding activity that you do?
Oh, medyo grounding activity ko nga medyo biased. It's really journaling in terms of the things to be done,
Mm-mm.
the things that I need to do during the week, and then what I use the journal for is really writing down like different things na parang pasok sa isip ko. So minsan some ideas, kasi parang some releases. Minsan also like mga stresses, I really have to write it down. I feel like it's grounding for me kasi it's making me see my reality in a parang external perspective. It's not just in my
Mm.
head. And then of
Yeah,
course, very grounding is like the hugs and kisses of my kids.
of your kids. Oh,
Aw.
Yeah.
for me, of our dogs. I have kids, yeah. So
Kids din
okay na
'yon,
yung
kids
dogs.
din 'yon. Okay lang 'yan,
Actually,
okay
yeah.
'yon, okay
Actually,
'yon.
oh, that's
For
true.
Anak
babies.
din 'yon. Yeah,
Uh,
for babies.
Alam mo,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm super happy though that you also mentioned that even the stresses you write them down. Kasi importante pala yun that you have to capture it to take it out of your
Mm.
head and write it somewhere. Kasi if you don't write it somewhere, if you don't capture it, if you don't have means of capturing it, it's just at the back of your head the entire time, apparently. Oh, another thing that I'm doing right now is I am cleaning my room, which is really great. So I just watching Netflix in kay Marie Kondo. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to tidy things up and look for things that spark joy. So yeah. So Eric, can you tell us how you got into the coaching and the facilitation industry? What is coaching and facilitation anyway? Can you talk to us
right.
more
So
about that?
yeah, so coaching generally, ang dami ng coaches now, and there's so many different kinds of coaches. But in general, coaching is the process by which a person is supported to increase their level of awareness so that they can make more responsible choices. So it can be applied for work, professional coaching. There's executive coaching, but there's also life coaching, which can
Mhm.
affect your personal lives, personal goals, and things like that. So for me, I got into this way back in 2012 when I took the program called LEAD. So it's Leadership Enhancement Achievement Program, Leadership Excellence Achievement Program, offered by Innovate. It's a trilogy program actually, but I took it for like just 3 months basically, and it changed my life. Because before LEAP, so my life before LEAP was I was a goal getter. So parang alam ko na how to get goals easily. Parang whatever I put my mind on and I focus on, I know I can get it. And I thought I was happy, di ba? Parang naman, di ba? So especially for debaters, iba eh.
Yeah.
Parang iba yung I want to win the championship. I want to go for this and break and things like that. So I guess it's a part of our patterning and our culture and structures in our head. That it's easy, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy, and things started falling apart in my life. My relationships weren't working. I had issues at work, and things were very difficult, basically. So when I took the lead program, that turned things around for me. Because that's where I realized that I am enough. I don't have to constantly work for love and instead work out of love. And
Mm.
it changed the way I am in my relationships, and it changed the way I am in terms of how I go for goals. Now it's
Yeah.
not just I'm gonna go for this goal because with this I'm going to be validated. Like I feel enough, I feel good about myself.
Mm.
In turn, parang binaliktad siya. Because I feel good about myself, then I can get any goal I want. And I feel good in the process. Hindi ako hirap, there's no feeling of lack, and it's just like going with the flow, but intentionally. And so
Mm.
because of that experience, which was really all about love for me, I started giving back. I received a lot from the program, and I started giving back as a volunteer life coach. And eventually, I chose to be a head coach for batch 71, which was with the team Choose Love. So, Cholo, ganyan. So, of which Victor was a student. I'm so happy
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
took the program when I was a head
After two
coach.
after
And
2 years,
after 2 years
he's been
of,
like
yeah,
convincing me.
Convincing.
And I'm like,
Dar,
my
ang
life is
kwento niyan,
perfect. I
Dar,
don't have to do.
pwede ko ba ikwento, Victor? Pero ang
Go,
kwento
go,
niyan,
kwento.
Okay, oh my god. Okay, I think my mom's listening, but fine. Sige, go.
So naglalakad
Go.
kami sa Maginhawa after like a meeting for another business. So we were doing another project at that time. So we were walking sa Maginhawa. Tapos nag-open up siya about his personal life. Tapos sabi ko, oh my God, Victor, do you know that I'm head coaching? And my team is Choose Love. Tapos parang nag-light up na lang si Victor.
Yeah. So
Oo.
I was with someone at the time, and I'm like, and then we parted ways. So how do
Heartbreak,
you
heartbreak, yeah.
heartbreak siya? So how do
Mm.
you survive a heartbreak? So I think that was the reason why Leap was very important. I mean, like the life coaching program was very important for me, and because of this life coaching program, I was also able to launch my social enterprise nga. So this brings me nicely to our topic for today, which is about goal setting. I just want to
Yes.
clarify because parang it seemed like there's something wrong with goal setting. But what's the change? Na parang what's the difference between how you were setting goals before with how you are setting goals right now? I mean, is setting goals even a bad thing to begin with?
Can I'll
No.
add something
Yeah, yeah.
related to the goal setting and taking away from what
Eric said.
Eric said earlier in terms of, 'di ba, parang before my goals ka naman, tas you are achieving your goals. But now, I think one of the biggest lessons that you learned from Leap, and ako, yung joke namin, meron Leap adjacent. Kasi madami akong friends na nag-leap na. Pero hindi pa ako nag-leap. So, but one of my coaches right now, si Coach Chris, so shout out ko in case nanonood si Coach Chris. So sabi nga niya talaga, you have to ground it with values. And I
Mm,
think that's
mm,
one of the things that parang major na parang when you're going for a goal, it has to be
yes.
very clear what is the value that you want to manifest or parang
Mm-mm.
ipalabas
Embody.
in achieve. Yeah,
Yeah.
embody. Yeah, that's better.
So if
Yeah.
I got it correctly, parang goal setting is not inherently wrong. It's more of where are you coming from when you set the goals. Tama ba?
Yeah,
Yes, I think
Ayun.
so.
Oo. Na parang is it an ego need? Like is it coming from, the ego? Is it coming from a space of love, etc., etc.? Parang I want to win this
mm-mm.
championship. But the question is why? Why do you want to win that championship
Mm.
anyway? Is it
Mm-mm.
because you want to get validated, you want to prove your worth, etc.? So yeah.
Mm-mm.
I also want to clarify, Eric, because you mentioned earlier that the role of coaching is to increase the level of awareness. Could you tell us exactly what you mean by increasing the level of awareness? Is
Right.
it, like
So
being aware of your surroundings or what have you?
that's part of being aware, right? That's part of being aware. But I think what I'm pertaining to when I said increase the level of awareness is being mindful of your come from and your beliefs
Mm,
that basically affect the way you behave and the kind of choices that you make leading to certain results. the whole principle behind it is that all results that we see are just basically products of behavior, of our choices, and deep down our structures and belief systems. And more often than not, we make choices na hindi intentional because we don't know our come from. So minsan maganda yung goal, pero the intention behind it pala is maybe out of revenge, maybe out of need for validation, or proving yourself right and proving someone else wrong. And so goal setting is not right or wrong. As a matter of fact, feeling ko, and this is my personal take on it, parang it's natural for us as human beings to have goals because goals remind us that there's so much more in life, that we can be
Yes,
so
yes.
much more. Diba? And since we're part of the universe and it's so expansive, it makes us tap into all this potential. Now we can be so much more. And so inherent sa atin yan goals, whether it be big goals or small goals, like just getting up in the morning and fixing your bed. But that there's so
Mm-hmm.
much more in that, right? And so yun, so parang that level of awareness na, oh my God, so this is why I want it. Now this is where I want to be, and this is how I want to be, right? And this is how I
Mm-mm.
want to express myself. So yeah, it's
Correct,
really
correct.
important that we have that
Mm-mm.
awareness.
Ikaw,
Uh-uh.
Dar, do you think there's any change in the way by which you set goals over the
Over
years?
time,
Over
over the
time, yeah.
years. I think part of my parang origin story when I started BDJ is I think I went for goals that society in a way
Mm-mm.
dictated. 'Di ba? Yung parang, okay, nag-graduate ka from a good school, you have to go into this multinational, this is the career path, this is the formula for success. So before, when I was in high school, college, that's how I set the goals based on what everyone told us na this is what you need to do to be able to be successful. And then, as you know, Victor, Eric, just to quickly share, crash and burn ako first year out of college. Like parang from supposedly successful in college with recognition here and there. Pag first year out, sobrang parang crash and burn. It's like I failed in my first year of real life, 'di ba?
Mm.
Um, but because of that failure, it really made me look into what do I really want.
Mm.
And nag-change talaga na parang, shocks, parang yung mga goals pala na sinulat ko dati, hindi ko pala talaga siya gusto. So yung mga ginawa ko right after college, like the company I joined, the decision I made to take the board, it wasn't for me. It was to appease the expectations around me or expectations I made
Nice.
I made to myself. I mean, hindi naman siya pressure talaga sa parents ko. It was just I thought it was the right thing.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So, napakalakas. Nare-realize ko lang ngayon after 10 million years na ang lakas ko talaga ng need to be right.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of making the right decision, the need na, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? As in yung ganon. So, I think, during that time, I was just trying to connect back to myself. What did I really want? And being honest, kaya yung self-awareness earlier that is super important. And then now, after the pandemic, it's really what is yung true choice, 'di ba? Nandun na ako na on
Yeah.
the goal setting, on the goals. Is this really what's true? Parang mas lumalim kasi 'di ba yung una, parang okay, collection naman. Pero ngayon mas lumalalim yung what do I really want in a deeper way. Hindi siya yung it's really what are the goals that will really excite me and light me up. And
Ganda.
it's not an easy question to ask yourself.
Yeah. So I guess yun nga yung sinasabi mo kanina, Eric, na increasing level of awareness. So Dar was now aware that the reason why she was doing things was because of the expectations. Dar also pointed out a very important thing, like that your goals should be anchored on values. What does it mean? What do you mean by that? Can you guys like increase our level of awareness with respect
Si
to
Eric,
that?
si Eric yung
Eric, yeah.
leaf coach. Head coach. Head coach
Oo.
Eric.
Right. And
What does it
so,
mean? Yeah.
yeah, parang ano, di ba? Well, how do you explain you're grounded on values? Essentially, to put it simplistically, it's not so much what you need to do or have as opposed to how you are in relation to your goals. So a lot of the things say we approach goals in terms of to-do lists and to have.
Mm.
Diba? So parang, oh, this is what I need to have. I need to have, my goal is to have a house. My goal is to have a car and ganyan and all these things. Diba? These are nice goals and big goals, by the way. And everyone can have it. Diba? I mean, everyone I can have that kind of dream. But the question is, so what kind of person do you want to be in relation to getting that goal? And that is the value. So are you a joyful person? Do you want to experience yourself committed, responsible, or abundant? Or is it out of a loving side of you? Diba? Na you're very loving as a person. That's why you want to go after a house, right? This goal of getting a house because you want to provide that kind of loving space for your family. Diba? So there is a difference. If it's grounded on value, there's so much more meaning to the goal. And at the same
Correct,
time, you will
correct.
feel that you're different when you're actually doing the things that you need to do to get to your goal. Diba? Parang
Mm.
ang tawag
Mhm.
dito, ano eh, waging-wagi ka. To quote
Yeah.
another person, I mean, I think he guessed it also here sa BDJ, si Winston Lim, right? A manifestation
Yes,
coach.
Coach
Uh,
Winston. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so we coached together for Leap, and so Vince would always say waging wagi #wagi, which means
Mhm.
basically walang gigil, di ba? Walang gigil eh. Kasi if you're coming from value, meaning from love, what is there to be gigil about? Di ba? You know that you will get there because you're being loving, you're committed, and you know that when you get this, it's you just expressing the love that you have for your family, for example. And so I think that really changes it. Pag galing sa value.
Mhm.
So the value really there is what kind of a person do you want to experience, right? For yourself. What value do you embody? Is it responsibility, commitment, trust, or vulnerability maybe for relationships, for
Mhm.
relationship goals? Diba? Do you want to be more
Mm.
trusting? Diba? When you go on, let's say, online dates ngayon eh, wala mo ng in-person dates, di ba? So, so
Correct,
kunwari
correct.
magbabumble ka, may ganyan kang goal, di ba? Is it because you want to get a partner? Or you want to experience yourself really trusting and being open to love?
Mm.
Diba? So
Mm.
there is that difference.
Sige, can we like try to operationalize that, right? Because like
Mm.
we've been setting a lot of goals, especially like like pag New Year, diba? Meron tayong things that we want to achieve, and normally you're gonna see things like I want to lose weight, or probably I want to earn 2 million pesos for this year. How would you ground that to values, just so like the Bellas could
Mm.
understand like what do you mean by a goal setting that's grounded to value and values?
Right. And so the first question there is, so why do you want that goal? Diba? What's
Mm.
in this particular goal? And
Mhm.
keep on asking that question until you get to a point wherein you actually feel in yourself what that goal means. And then whatever that feeling is, whether it be a feeling of trust, a feeling of joy, a feeling of love or abundance, that's when you get to that actual value. And to make it simpler, Victor, since we're operationalizing it, diba? It's good to start with a declaration of how you see yourself. Diba? A declaration of how you see yourself in your best self. Kumbaga kung perfect 10 ka, sino tong si Victor Bagilat na to? Diba? And it's not so much what you have, really. It's not so much what you do. It's not about the titles. It's how you experience yourself as a person in relation to another person or in relation to yourself. So that declaration is very important. So a good example for a declaration, which is my personal declaration, by the way, right now, is that I am a beloved child of the universe. And it's important for me to see myself as that so that whatever happens in this pandemic, I just know that the universe is out there to support me, will send people who will support me with my goals, and that I always have it within myself, whatever it is that I need. So, from that declaration, because I know that I'm a beloved child of the universe, it's a lot easier to experience myself, for example, in my personal life as a joyful person. So, kung ang goal ko ay to have good relationships with the people around me or with my romantic partner, for example, that I wish to experience myself joyful in my relationships. And how does that look like na? So, ano yung magiging goal mo so that you can experience yourself joyfully? in that relationship. Kung kunwari naman, I wish to be committed, for example, professionally. So I want to experience myself committed and responsible, that regardless of what's going on, I'll stick to what I said I will create in my life. So I'm committed to it 100%. And because I know that I am committed, now, what does it look like if I fully commit to it? Right? What is a good reminder that I am a committed person? So is it raising, for example, raising 100,000 in, let's say, a month, diba, or a week, diba? So that it takes a lot of commitment for you to be able to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how you operationalize it. So start with a declaration, who you think you are in your best self, and then what value do you wish to experience or embody more of in whatever aspect of your
Mm-hmm.
life? And what's a good measure so that you know that you are being joyful or being committed or whatever value it
Mm-mm.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. So you're saying that it's important to have goals. It's just we just have to make sure that we ground those goals to values. That's what Dar also
Yeah.
mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
we have a question here. The question is, how do we do goal setting? Do we have any specific ritual or what have you? May mga ritual. I think you mentioned like one ritual earlier, which is to create a declaration, and
Mhm.
maybe
Right.
the Bellas can also, if they don't have it yet, maybe they can also create a declaration and then write it in their journals. For me, before, I think my declaration was "I am light." Bakit? Actually, I forgot why. Parang, actually, the idea was that I don't want to prove myself, like I am worthy. Parang that's my impression
Mm.
of it. Ikaw, Dar, do you have a
May
ritual? Do you have a
declaration.
declaration? Yeah.
Kala ko declaration na tanong.
Pwede
But
din.
yeah, like,
Pwede ring declaration. Okay. My declaration is I am an inspiration as I spark joy, love, and abundance.
Wow.
wow,
So,
I love it.
yun yung ano ko, yun yung declaration ko for this year.
Mm-mm.
And, of, di ba, parang, our declaration doesn't mean that we're there eh. It means the
Yeah.
journey of our becoming, of our being.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Ang
Yeah.
sharing
ganda.
lang, ano.
But how did you come up with that declaration? Was it
I,
like when you woke up, like, oops, I have the declaration or something? Maybe the Bellas are also interested if they don't have a
kailangan natin
declaration
ng
yet.
coach dyan. Kailangan natin
Ah,
ng coach dyan.
understand.
But I think part of the process is really, as Coach Eric mentioned
Mm.
earlier na kailangan talaga natin i-figure out what are our top values. Like, what do we really want to experience as a value for ourselves? So for me, it was really joy because number one ko was really joy because somehow I guess in the past years, I'm very passionate. I really love, minsan I love too strong. Di ba? Minsan may judgment na if you love too hard, di ba? Parang
Mm-mm.
masyado ka ng
Mm.
controlling kasi you love too much. Di ba? Parang may mga judgment. So, parang love wasn't that difficult, I guess, for me. What was difficult is really joy. So, parang,
Oo.
shucks, oo nga, no? Anong napapa-excite sa akin? Ano ba yung natutuwa ako na parang, I'm doing this out of love. I'm doing this out of, di ba? Pero, wala yung joy eh. Wala yung joy
Mhm.
component. And then, um, so, it didn't seem like it was love, yung concern ko, more on what is joyful for me as a person. Like when I'm doing things, is it light? Does it make me happy? Does it make me kilig? Gets yung mga ganon.
Mm.
So parang
Yeah.
medyo nag-center ako around that. And then, of course, love is still part of it. And then, I want to be able to spark abundance or inspire abundance. Like abundance, not just money, but also time, support, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Connection, 'di ba? Connections with people. So I feel like that's how I want to experience the best version of myself.
Of yourself. Yeah, I
Ang
just want to
ganda.
share one thing. When I was in law school, alam mo yung, syempre sa desk nakalagay dyan yung, sabi like you have to be specific with your goals and everything. Nakalagay dyan, I'm gonna top the bar exams, etc. I'm gonna, like memorize these things. I'm
Oo.
gonna, whatever. Talaga, kahit anong sulat ko, like memo sa self that, I'm gonna be a great lawyer. It's just, sobra yung walang flow. Grabe, I was pushing against the wall. So I feel
Correct.
like the reason why that was the case is because my ambition to be, or my goal to become a lawyer, to be a, like a top notcher or what have you, was really just like you, influenced by the social expectations, right? Because
Mm.
separate, we're living in a country wherein being a lawyer is such a sensationalized thing. It's not as, I'm not saying it's a bad thing,
Yeah.
um, but for me it wasn't the right choice. It was a false choice. It's more of I wanted
Correct.
to
Correct.
prove myself to everyone, to the entire
Na kaya mo.
country, that I can also do it, etc. So one example to Bella's of a goal that is not grounded on values, on the right value, on the values
Mm-mm.
that was working for myself. And
Mhm.
I remember I got super depressed. So wala ring joy. Eh. So I feel
Mhm.
like you can't tell if it's the right values for you, or the values that works for you, if kung may joy, like you can sense it. Eh. Maybe
Mm-mm.
like emotions do not lie. So maybe that's one way to go about creating goals, if it excites you, if it's
Right.
grounded in values and declarations, etc. So
And
yeah.
Victor, if I may add, parang since you mentioned it, diba, parang alam naman natin lahat, especially for those who have been going after goals, that goals need to be smart, diba? Smart.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
But really,
Yes.
the smart goal, or some even say smarter goals, diba? Better than talaga smarter, hindi lang smart. Smarter goals. Oh, pero really, these are guides so that we can have a clear picture of what we want. Diba? And
Correct.
also the process of getting there. Diba? It's laying down these milestones, these action plans, so that we get to our goals, right? But a lot of times people forget also that goals don't just work in our head. There's also an emotional part behind every goal. And if you are able to connect the two and align them, diba, it's a lot easier to go after goals when they start becoming difficult to get. Right? When
Yes.
when the
Correct.
going gets tough, if you're grounded on
Mm-hmm.
how it feels for you, especially when
Mm.
you
Mm-hmm.
actually get it already, it's a lot easier. So parang tawag namin dito emotional peg. So ano yung emotional peg mo for
Ito ba yung
this
hugot?
one, di ba?
May
Hugot,
hugot ka?
oo,
Yeah.
correct. Correct. So may
Yeah.
hugot kasi lahat ng goals eh. Parang you don't just go for
Mm-mm.
goals just because wala lang, di ba? It means something
Oo.
for you. So anong hugot niya? Anong hugot? Di ba?
Mm-mm.
And
But
mas
sometimes like
malalim, the more grounded sa
oo.
emotion, mas maganda.
But I remember before, like we would make goals because our friends have achieved something. Like, oh, I want that too, or probably our siblings,
Yeah,
etc.
exactly.
May mga
Oo.
ganun eh. But walang real hugot. Medyo false choice siya. Medyo ego need. I mean, like, it's coming from
Correct, correct.
pride or
Oo.
something. Okay, I think
I
we have
think
another. Sorry, go
sorry,
ahead.
just to I guess to add also tama may sinabi kasi si Chico na the value guided goals make the results more rewarding, and it adds another layer of feeling and success in my purpose. And I think just to add to what everyone shared nga, I think the value why it's very grounding is because whether or not you actually achieve your goal, you can experience the value for
Yes.
yourself. And
Mm.
then I guess it's a process na parang then maybe you tweak the goal or not
Mhm.
tweak the goal, your choice. Kasi baka minsan naman yung mga goals sa akin, ako believer ako na minsan nagbabago yung goals.
Yes.
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 Minsan nagbabago yung goals. Like, parang, I'm sure during the pandemic, our goals have changed, our plans have changed. But maybe the values would not necessarily change
Mhm.
as much.
Mm-mm.
Kasi
Yeah.
yun nga yung
Agree.
hinahabol natin. So,
Yeah,
yun.
parang for example, you want to the goal is to be able to feel abundant. Mag-iiba lang, from 2 million to I don't know, like something else, or but the important
1.9.
1.9 million. So nagbabago siya. But the important thing there is the value. Eh. Like regardless of what it is, you feel abundant. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so I think there's a question here, and the question is, how would you describe yourself as a goal setter? Are you very strategic? Are you a meticulous planner rather, or are you very driven? Ako allowing lang ako eh. But when I want something, I really focus. Like I think this was my master's, diba? I graduated high distinction. And I wasn't like an academic achiever like in college, but because of the lockdown, I wasn't doing anything else. But when I took my master's program, I really loved it. That's when I told myself, okay, I'm gonna like
Mm.
graduate with high distinction. So yeah, but it wasn't really more of I wanted to prove myself, but it's like it's just fun to
You
to
enjoyed
achieve.
it. Yeah.
And first time in my life, Dar, that I enjoyed looking at my grades. I'm fine. Parang ganon. Yeah. What about you guys? How do you like describe yourselves as a goal setter?
Yeah, for
Ikaw,
me,
Coach
ako ano,
Eric.
sige, ako ano, intentional. That's how I would describe myself as a go-getter. It's intentional not just with the kind of goals that I set, but also in terms of how I go after it. Kasi sometimes you're bombarded with a lot of options eh, di ba? Parang there's so many ways
Mm-mm.
to get to a goal. And
Mm-mm.
oftentimes, people have a tendency to spread themselves too thinly, to try out so many things. But in
Mm-mm.
reality,
Correct.
especially for me, it's really just being intentional. How does this particular action lead to my bigger goal? Diba? And at the same time, setting the milestones to get there. Because these things can change, then also I'm very flexible, diba? Allowing, but intentional still. It's not like surrender na lang ako, bahala na si Batman kind of thing. Eh. Which works for others, diba? Flow lang. That's good. But for me, I think it's more of intentional flow. You know, I know where to go and how to get there. It must mean something. It must make sense. Ganun siya. How about you, Dar?
For me naman, actually medyo malapit din sa intentional. It's really parang siguro ano, parang naisip ko yung word na naisip ko in my head earlier was really purposeful. Like parang, and maybe it's a bit also when Victor mentioned the word strategic, that I guess I want, kasi parang I think for me, more than anything, I feel like I want my life to mean something, to have purpose, to have impact in the world.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if I shared this with you, Victor, pero kasama siya ng essay, right? Yung essay ko nung nag-apply ako sa Ateneo. Pero hindi ako pumunta sa Ateneo. Was the meaning of my name is Darlene Sandra eh. It means beloved defender of mankind. So,
Oh,
may
wow.
drama ako dyan na parang feeling ko, oh, I'm here to defend mankind.
Like,
Kasi yung may ganun akong story in my head kasi yun yung pangalan na binigay sa akin. Na so, dapat nandito ako to make the difference in the world. Kasi mga ganyan. So, I don't know, maybe it's so ingrained in me because of my name. And I felt like it was part of why I'm here on earth, that I really want to make a difference, influence people. So, regardless of all the goals that I've set out parang my whole life, that is the one thing that's a bit consistent. Na I want to make something that has a positive impact. Whatever project that may be, whatever life goal, business, like with Viviamo, parang meron pa rin palagi siyang touch of that. Because I feel that is my parang purpose. Kaya, I guess, purposeful.
ganda.
Yeah.
Ang ganda ng kwento mo, Dar. diba? Ateneo essay talaga eh. Yan,
Oo, Ateneo,
diba?
di ba may mga, pag nag-a-apply sa school, may mga essay writing stuff. Mga ganyan. So,
But
yun yung
that means basically that parang we inherently know it naman eh. Diba? What we're called to do, what we are. It's just that we forget these things because of maybe people's expectations. Diba? And
Totoo.
Yeah.
But inherently, if we trust our own instincts and how we feel, our gut feel, parang it will direct us to what has been meaningful for us all this time naman. Ganda.
Yes.
Ganda ng kwento.
Yeah, there's also by the way, guys, there's also a very interesting question here. Because like, in the midst of a pandemic, parang people are not very ambitious and stuff. They're losing the drive or what have you. What advice what words of wisdom can you share with them? But sorry, I have a question lang. kasi my name naman, Victor, I'm a junior, but for me, like, so burdensome. Kasi there's
Being
this
junior.
expectation for me. Yeah, expectation to be like
Oo,
my
shadow
dad.
usually Oo.
Oh, I'm like, oh my
Yun nga
God.
yung
So,
problems ng madaming juniors.
oh. So, kaya, that's the reason why I took up law, because my dad's a lawyer. And I feel like, although there
Oh,
was no pressure naman na parang, oh, be a lawyer, etc. I've
oo.
always felt like what you mentioned earlier, Dar, na parang I have to be a lawyer. It's the story in my head.
Correct,
Anyway,
correct.
yeah, going back to the question on the people who are losing ambition in the midst of the
In the
pandemic.
pandemic,
Kasi may
yeah.
cabin fever, eh. Like they're staying in their room,
Yes,
like
ako
no,
din.
not a
Nakakabit
lot of
fever.
interaction,
Mm.
diba? Like what kind of advice to help them become like better goal setters? And for me, I feel like it's okay sometimes to not have a lot of, like not to be ambitious for some time, especially like for example after we did the Vogue shoot. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna rest first. Kasi grabe rin the media attention. I think all of the major media outfits covered the event, covered the shoot, especially like syempre like Pia Burzbach, diba? Like also made it to the to Vogue Italia, but parang to a certain extent, like there's so much media attention that I felt a bit uncomfortable. Napagod ako. Not that I don't love it. I mean, of course, I appreciate it. I'm very grateful. But nakakapagod siya. And it's also the same
Mm.
thing with the mga introverts na like, when
Kailangan ng break, yeah.
when they get exposed to a lot of people, napapagod sila. For me, like those are
Mm-mm.
the instances where it's okay for you to take a break from like having, you know, um, from being too ambitious or being very driven. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, for me, alam mo, Victor, kasi a lot of people, when they think about goals, it's always something like very big, diba? And so
Mm-mm.
the bigger the goal is, the farther we are from it. And because the farther we are from it, the more distance we see, and the harder it is for us to get there. Diba? The
Mm-mm.
thing about with goals is, goals can be simple things that we do. And especially in a pandemic, nasa bahay ka lang, di ba? What's good is to start with small goals. And what are small goals? The things that are within your reach. As in literally within your reach. Di ba? So if you see your table, okay, sige, clutter, daming gulo dyan. Maybe you can start with that. Di ba? Just clean
Mm-mm.
your table, fix your table, or your closet is so full. Diba? Maybe you can do maricondo, not, diba? Parang si Victor, diba? Nag-aayos siya ng kwarto niya ngayon, diba?
Oo.
So these
Pero
are
na-overwhelm ako like
small
2 weeks
values.
na.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, so
2 weeks
kung
na nandun pa. Nasa
na-overwhelm,
clothes pa rin ako.
pero di ba yun yung ano, that's the thing eh, di ba? Goals can become overwhelming because it's either two things. Either we think we cannot get it, we're not capable of getting it, or that we don't deserve it. Diba? That we don't deserve it.
Mm.
So to get through those two beliefs, limiting beliefs, it's really just starting small, simple things. Like kunare, fixing the room, maybe just start with fixing a small part of your room. Start with your table. Diba? If you have a big
Mm-hmm.
closet, start with, I don't know, with your pants. Diba? Fixing your pants and
Mm.
then going with your top and things like that. So and because of that, we feel that we're making progress. Diba? Fixing your bed nga in the
Correct.
morning, diba? It's a goal for many people, and especially in the pandemic. Minsan hirap ka na eh, di ba? Just to face the day. And so at the same time, acknowledge that you've actually found the courage, or commitment or love to handle life and to live your life, but the best way you know how. And so take it small, and then from there make it big until you see that it just becomes a habit. So habit forming is very important in goal getting as well. Eh. So turn it into a habit, 21 days, diba? And see for yourself whether this is really something that you want to continue with after that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Are there common mistakes when it comes to goal setting that you notice?
Oo. Ang usual dyan, okay, either wala ka sa realidad ng buhay, di ba? kunwari lang, gusto ko ng 2 million, okay, in 1 week. Parang some people are capable of creating that, di ba? Given their skills, their influence, and whatever they have in their life. But kung kunwari, if you're the kind of person that who earns, for example, 5,000 a day, tapos wala kang ibang means of getting there, tapos you want to get the 2 million after a month's time, parang, okay, medyo lumiliit ang ating mga options, di ba? Based on the reality. So, ang ating way forward, baka delikado or hindi legal ang ating way forward. Di ba? So, yun yung sobrang okay. The draw side naman, if you're stuck with reality, is you tend to censor yourself, di ba? And be tentative around big things. Tapos parang isipin mo, ay, hindi, yung smaller na lang. Kasi baka hindi ko pa kaya, ganun. Or parang, ay, hindi, magsasettle na lang ako for this amount. Or magsasettle na lang ako for this person. Yo, hugot. Magsasettle ako for this person. Kasi, wala ganun. So these are common mistakes, but these are how we see the goals, right? But once you get naman, once you have the goals na, the common mistake is giving up too easily and the going gets tough. So, it really has to come from commitment. Ganyan. These are the usual things I see from the many people I've coached and the goals.
Yeah.
Pero marami pa yan. Marami pa.
Ikaw, Dar, may mga common mistakes ka ba dito?
Oo. I think siguro ngayon medyo, kasi yun yung medyo nakatatak right now in my head kasi it was just the most recent reminder sa akin talaga in the values. Kasi parang when you set goals and they're not grounded in values, parang feeling ko mas mabilis ka talaga maubusan ng energy. Kasi parang mapapagod ka eh. Like parang, how do you want to experience yourself when you've achieved this goal, diba? Yun yung value. Parang if you want to feel joy. So if it's not grounded on, let's say, joy, and then you're just working at it, and then you become so focused on the task, and then you get disconnected with the emotion that you want to achieve, right? Diba? And then that's why it becomes heavy. It becomes mabigat. And then you wonder, I thought I wanted this. But actually, you still might want it. It's just that the way you're going after it, it's not anymore the energy of joy we're in. Yun naman yung totoong bigger experience that you want. I feel that that mind heart connection is one of the most common mistakes. I do that all the time. I need reminders on that a lot of times kasi parang minsan if we keep on thinking, parang yun nga masyadong palagi yung nire-remind nga sa akin parang, doing na naman yan, hindi naman yan being, hindi yan feeling. What is the feeling? So, kasi sa akin sobrang automatic, okay, ano yung kailangan gawin and ano yung action, ano yung thought, diba ganyan. Pero yung heart and yung feeling, minsan na-disconnect. So, ako, just sharing my most common mistake, that's for my personal experience. And I feel when I go back to be able to correct, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, but to connect my heart and mind regarding that goal, that feeling, and then at the same time, that goal, parang, I don't know, mas magaan na yung pakiramdam. It doesn't feel like I have to. It's really just because, I know, that's the experience that I want. Parang, I don't know, there's that sense lang. So, yun.
Actually, I super agree. The alignment, no? It's very important.
Iba, grabe yung alignment. Minsan, akala natin align na tayo, tapos hindi pa pala.
Yeah.
Pero pag align na, super bilis, di ba? Parang it just flows. When you're so aligned, it just flows.
Yeah, I just want to share yung the Vogue thing, diba? Like, I a couple of weeks ago, I saw our first media coverage. It was in a tabloid. That was like 4 years after, it's in Vogue Italia. And alam mo yung statement ko, super, instead of saying, I have to get this, I have to blah, blah, parang something like softer, like gentler, like, wouldn't it be nice if I make it to Paris, if I do a show in Paris? Or wouldn't it be nice if I'm, land in Vogue Italia? And then hindi rin siya yung masyadong, dapat we have to be, ganyan. Inisip ko lang, you just think about the feeling of being in Paris, in Vogue, etc. So ang masaya siya. So it's a
Yeah.
very joyful, pleasant experience for me. And maganda rin siyang i-journal. Ang saya magsulat, di ba? You
Totoo.
capture all of the
Totoo.
lovely feelings. Yon. So
Oo.
to wrap
Gamitin
things,
ko yung gamitin ko yung word
go
ni
ahead,
Dar
yeah.
kanina. Hashtag kilig. Di ba? It's a joyful
Yes.
kind of
Oh my
expressing and
God,
going after
kilig.
it.
Oo.
Parang when you go after goals or even just think about them or write them down in your journal, di ba dapat parang
Yeah.
sinusulat mo palang kinikilig ka na eh. Kasi napipeel mo na
Oo.
siya. And then
I
it
think
just happens.
that's also what Marie Kondo means when she says, like, does it spark joy? That's the kilig.
Correct.
Parang yan. Sabi ni M, walang giggle if, wouldn't it be nice if,
Wouldn't it be nice
yes, it's so true. Walang giggle. Walang push, rarara, whatever. Tama. So, waging-wagi ka.
Wagi.
Tama, yeah.
Mm-mm. Grabe, parang there's a lot of insights talaga from tonight's session. And thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much, Eric, for being our special guest tonight and sharing your thoughts on goal setting. I really learned a lot. And I'm sure a lot of our Bellas also learned a lot. And before tayo mag-last words, mag-reminder lang ako for everyone watching us tonight. If please do share your takeaways at the link below at go.bdj.studio/sign up. So you get a chance to win our raffle prizes for tonight. And with that, mga final words, Victor and Eric, regarding our goal setting.
Yeah.
Siguro one tip.
I guess the emotional peg is very important. Yung hugot. And wagi dapat. Walang giggle. Shout out to Coach Wins for that. What about you, Eric?
Shout out to Coach Wins. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, so aside from wagi at saka kilig, all right, very important sa akin talaga yung wagi at saka kilig. I think the goal has to be not a reminder of your lack, rather a reminder of how beautiful you are as a person and what
Oh,
else is
that's so
possible
good.
for you. Yeah. So come
That's
not
so
from
beautiful.
lack, but from
Yeah.
what's beautiful about you.
Ang ganda.
Ganda.
Oo.
Hindi ko na masusundan yan.
Oo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ang ganda nun, Eric. Yes. I will write that down. Kailangan ko yun i-remind. Yeah. It needs to be a reminder. Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Victor, for being my partner again tonight. And again, thank you, Bellas, for watching us and staying with us for this past hour. And next week, don't forget, we have a check-in, fourth Wednesday of the month with Mind Nation. So we can have a check-in for our mental health for the month of September. And with that, good night.
Night, everybody.
Thank you guys. Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.